I don't like things that write code for me. I want to do it myself. Mitchell Hashimoto recently published a blog titled My AI Adoption Journey. It's his 6-step process for AI coding, and you should pay attention. At the end of the video, I'll show you how to take action on it tonight, including a handcrafted prompt that you can copy and use. If you don't know the name, Mitchell created Terraform, Console, Vagrant, and many other tools that power infrastructure at basically every major company. He co-founded HashiCorp, took it public at a $14 billion valuation, then stepped down from the C-suite to go back to coding and eventually left the company entirely. He's now building a terminal emulator called a Ghosty, which he gives away for free. He calls it technical philanthropy. This is a guy who in 2021 said, and I quote, "I don't like things that write code for me. I want to do it myself." He has no investments in AI, no advisory roles, nothing. And he frames his journey as these 6 steps. Drop the chatbot, reproduce your own work, end-of-day agents, outsource the slam dunks, engineer the harness, and always have an agent running. He opens with something that I connect with deeply. He says, "My experience adopting any meaningful tool is that I've necessarily gone through 3 phases. 1, a period of inefficiency. 2, a period of adequacy. Then finally 3, a period of workflow and life-altering discovery. In most cases, I have to force myself through phase 1 and 2 because I usually have a workflow I'm already happy and comfortable with. Adopting a tool feels like work and I do not want to put in the effort, but I usually do in an effort to be a well-rounded person of my craft." This is my journey of how I found value in AI tooling and what I'm trying next with it. In an ocean of overly dramatic hyped takes, I hope this represents a more nuanced, measured approach to my views on AI and how they've changed over time. And I love this because he says this blog post was fully written by hand in my own words. I hate that I have to say that, but especially given the subject matter, I want to be explicit about it. Step 1, drop the chatbot. Immediately cease trying to perform meaningful work via a chatbot. ChatGPT, Gemini on the web, etc. Chatbots have real value and are a daily part of my AI workflow, but their utility in coding is highly limited because you're mostly hoping they come up with the right results based on their prior training, and correcting them involves a human, you, to tell them they're wrong repeatedly. It is inefficient. To find value, you must use an agent. An agent is the industry-adopted term for an LLM that can chat and invoke external behavior in a loop. At a bare minimum, the agent must have the ability to read files, execute programs, and make HTTP requests. Step 2, reproduce your own work. The next phase of my journey, I tried Claude Code. I'll cut to the chase. I initially wasn't impressed. I just wasn't getting any good results out of my sessions. Instead of giving up, I forced myself to reproduce all my manual commits with agentic ones. I literally did the work twice. I'd do the work manually, and then I'd fight an agent to produce identical results in terms of quality and function, without it being able to see my manual solution, of course. This was excruciating because it got in the way of simply getting things done. But expertise formed. I quickly discovered for myself from first principles what others were already saying. 1, break down sessions into separate, clear, actionable tasks. Don't try to draw the owl in one mega session. 2, for vague requests, split the work into separate planning versus execution sessions. And 3, if you give an agent a way to verify its work, it more often than not fixes its own mistakes and prevents regressions. More generally, I also found the edges of what agents at the time were good at, what they weren't good at, and for the tasks they were good at, how to achieve the results I wanted. This is such an underrated point. Using agents day in and day out is the only way to actually find out what they're good and bad at. All of this led to significant efficiency gains to the point where I was starting to naturally use agents in a way that I felt was no slower than doing it myself. The negative space here is worth reiterating. Part of the efficiency gains here were understanding when not to reach for an agent. At this stage, I was finding adequate value with agents that I was happy to use them in my workflow, but still didn't feel like I was seeing any net efficiency gains. Step 3, end-of-day agents. To try to find some efficiency, I next started up a new pattern. Block out the last 30 minutes of every day to kick off 1 or more agents. My hypothesis was that perhaps I could gain some efficiency if the agent can make some positive progress in the times I can't work anyways. Basically, instead of trying to do more with the time I have, try to do more in the time I don't have. Similar to the previous task, I at first found this both unsuccessful and annoying, but I once again quickly found different categories of work that were really helpful. Deep research sessions. Parallel agents attempting different vague ideas I had but didn't have time to get started on. Issue and PR triage/review. To be clear, I did not go as far as others went to have agents running in loops all night. I was happy and I was starting to feel like I was doing more than I was doing prior to AI, if only slightly. Step 4, outsource the slam dunks. By this point, I was getting very confident about what tasks my AI was and wasn't great at. I had really high confidence with certain tasks that the AI would achieve a mostly correct solution. So the next step on my journey was let agents do all of that work while I worked on other tasks. More specifically, I would start each day by taking the results of my prior night's triage agents, filter them manually to find the issues that an agent will almost certainly solve well, and then keep them going in the background, one at a time, not in parallel. Meanwhile, I'd work on something else. Very important at this stage, turn off agent desktop notifications. Context switching is very expensive. In order to remain efficient, I found that it was my job as a human to be in control of when I interrupt the agent, not the other way around. At this point, I was firmly in the no way I can go back territory. I felt more efficient, but even if I wasn't, the thing I liked the most was that I could now focus my coding and thinking on tasks I really loved while still adequately completing the tasks I didn't. Step 5, engineer the harness. At risk of stating the obvious, agents are much more efficient when they produce the right result the first time, or at worst, produce a result that requires minimal touch-ups. The most surefire way to achieve this is to give the agent fast, high-quality tools to automatically tell it when it is wrong. I don't know if there is a broad industry-accepted term for this yet, but I've grown to calling this harness engineering. It is the idea that anytime you find an agent makes a mistake, you take the time to engineer a solution such that the agent never makes that mistake again. This comes in 2 forms. Better implicit prompting, agents MD. For simple things like the agent repeatedly running the wrong commands or finding the wrong APIs, update the agents.md or equivalent. Actual programmed tools, for example, scripts to take screenshots, run filter tests, etc., etc. This is where I'm at today. I'm making an earnest effort whenever I see an agent do a bad thing to prevent it from ever doing that bad thing again. Or conversely, I'm making an earnest effort for agents to be able to verify they're doing a good thing. Step 6, always have an agent running. Simultaneous to step 5, I'm also operating under the goal of having an agent running at all times. If an agent isn't running, I ask myself, is there something an agent could be doing for me right now? I'm not yet running multiple agents and currently don't really want to. I don't want to run agents for the sake of running agents. I only want to run them when there is a task I think would be truly helpful to me. Part of the challenge of this goal is improving my own workflows and tools so that I can have a constant stream of high-quality work to do that I can delegate, which even without AI is important. What I take away from this is the pattern that he's describing. Earn the right to delegate. You have to know what good output looks like before you can judge what an agent gives you. It's his step 2, and let's be honest, it's the part that most people skip. So here's what you can do tonight. In the pinned comment below, I left a research prompt that you can copy and paste straight into Claude Code. You open it in your project, replace the topic with whatever you've been meaning to dig into, how your auth system works end to end, what testing library fits your stack, whatever, and then you walk away. It spawns subagents that research in parallel. Each one surfaces new questions, and then it goes deeper on the best ones. And think about how else this could be used. Researching competitors, finding content ideas, learning about potential clients or customers, social media research, and on and on and on. I've been doing this for a while now, and it has been truly impactful. Nobody has the complete playbook for this yet. Not Mitchell, not Anthropic, not me. Agentic engineering is being built in public right now by people like this. And that's a core part of what this channel is about. Finding the people who are figuring it out and pulling out what actually works. The full blog post is linked in the description. It's absolutely worth reading the whole thing. And let me know in the comments if you're already doing something like this or if you're gonna try it out. Now please, like, subscribe, and share. There is a lot more coming. See you next time.